So I decided to make a video because my grandpa, I remember a few years ago, he asked me a math question. He was very interested in this question, but I knew that I had to find an answer to him, to his question in a way that's pretty concise, because he doesn't really have the longest attention span or patience to deal with me, who really likes to talk about math. So the question that he asked me is, he said that he was always confused in math why -1 times -1 is +1. And this is sort of a cheap attempt to explain in layman's terms why that might be the case. So I'm going to use the concept of the value of a dollar to sort of explain this. I think a lot of people really can put things into perspective when they think about money. People love thinking about money even if they don't believe themselves to be particularly mathematically inclined. So what you're seeing is a black table right now, and right now there is nothing on the table. The value of what's on the table is 0. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add $5. Okay, so there's my $5. What I've done is I've added a positive 5 to the table, and now what's on the table is plus $5. Do it again, and boom, I've got another 5. Okay, that's my money. I've got $10 on the table. I've done plus 5 2 different times. Now, I can also take away a $5. So what I've done is I've done a minus 5. I've subtracted $5 from whatever's on the table. Okay, so maybe this should be okay, and I can do that again. I'm going to subtract 5. Now I've got 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this. Oh gosh. I'm going to place that on my table. What I've done is I've added something to the table, but what I've added to the table is a bill. I now, whoever owns this table now owes $5 to the electric company. It would be pretty cool if electric bills were always this cheap, but that's the point. What you should think of what I just did is I added a negative $5 to the table, and now I've subtracted 5 from the total value of everything that's on the table. You can think of it that way. Now I can add a 5 to the table. Okay. And so what I have now is 0. So I've added a 5 to a table that has negative 5, and I have 0. I can add another negative. So now I've got a water bill. So what I've done is I've added negative 5 to 0, and now the table now has negative $5 on the entire face of it. If I remove a negative, I take this off of the table, what have I done? I've taken away a negative bill. I've taken away a negative sum of money, and the overall value of what I've done to the table is I've brought the value up. So in a sense, I've subtracted a negative to get a larger value. I can do that again. I'm going to subtract a negative to have an overall positive effect. As I subtract a positive, I'm decreasing, and as I add a negative, I'm decreasing. I add another negative, and I decrease, and I subtract a negative, and I increase. So that's one kind of way, that's one reason why we have negative times a negative is a positive, is really to reflect this sort of, this change. There you go. There you have it. Maybe this answered questions for you. Hopefully my grandpa will get it.